So those are the first two challenges. And going on to the third, no, we've never had to contend with this economic situation. And we don't know where it's going to end, although it seems to be getting better. Now, I spend most of my time up country in Thailand in a company, and I have lunch every day with vets and production managers and nutritionists. And we don't talk about coccidiosis, and we don't talk about feed conversion. We start to talk about the economic situation. And then last week somebody brought along a cartoon. Are we V-shaped? Are we U-shaped? Are we L-shaped? Or are we in the toilet? Now, also, we're living in a world where fail, Ferrari, bad year, 2M, Apple, fiasco, disconnecting people, Xerox. So, yeah, fortunately, chicken is not completely immune, but we don't have anywhere near, we might have problems with you guys, but we don't have any of the problems that those companies had. So, on the economic side, the big unknown for me is what I call the ripple effect. And I will give an example at home. My wife and myself, we play golf, and we have a massage every week. And the lady who does the massage, she said she used to have 3 customers a day, now she has 1. So that means she has less money. If I buy 9 shirts instead of 10, so this ripple effect, and when your next door neighbor loses his or her job, you spend less. And as we spend less, then this effect, and we're still not quite sure where it's going to end. A big change, casual dining is down, the restaurants are down, but this has created another situation, and again, this goes back to UK data, where in April, the actual volume of meat sold was 8% up on the previous year. And are there any Englishmen in the room? No? Nobody? Okay. Oh, there's one. Okay. Well, one of the favorite dishes in England used to be shepherd's pie, which is minced lamb with boiled potatoes. So people have stopped eating out. They're downgrading and eating a lot of shepherd's pie. But that 8% increase in retail has been accompanied by a decrease in food service, not in the McDonald's, not in the KFCs, but in the pubs and in the high-class restaurants. There's been a significant move away from eating out of home. Now, for 20 years, our question was, what were you to buy with the extra dollar? I can remember on a trip to see Paiko many, many years ago to Indonesia, and the lady sitting beside me was a marketing executive for Unilever. And every month she would go out to poor families and say, okay, you get $50 a month. If you get 51, how are you going to spend the 1? Well, most of that time, for us in the meat industry, the 1 went to meat and specifically into poultry. But now, it can go the other way, and again, Indonesia, a very good example. People forget that our first crisis had nothing to do with economics. It had to do with El Nino. People couldn't, the price of the fry oil went up, and nobody had enough money to buy chicken. And we lost about 20%, I think, of production in a very few months. So it can go the other way. And as a Brazilian, I can remember we had 2% a day inflation, and you went to the supermarket with a calculating, actually there was a calculating machine on the back of the trolley. And you filled up your trolley. Well, I don't have enough money. And then you took the non-superfluous out. Then you took some food superfluous and maybe a bit more until you were within your budget. This is what is happening all around the world. And obviously, depending on your income level, on what your habits are, your choices will be different. But this is what is happening. Now in Brazil, also, as soon as things got better, we went back to normal. But the question today, if with this, and especially maybe in the US, where I think as a non-American, visiting around the world, it's the US which has felt it most from a personal point of view and have got more depressed because of the situation. And whether they will come back so quickly, I'm not sure. And I think, up here, spend a very small proportion on food, whereas down here, a very large proportion. So how fast things will get back to normal will be very, very different. And I don't think you will be able to make any global rules or predictions. Now, a friend of mine, and he's well known to most of you, Paul Aho, he made up this prediction in January, and he went through, he breaks up the world into 5 simple income quintiles, and he made a prediction that here slight up, here slightly down, and then really getting hit here, and this was about a 2.5% decrease. Then the USDA came out in April, and with pork up in China, pork other down, so pork was slightly up, beef down, and broiler flat. But with what's happening in Brazil, that seems very difficult. That's actually not quite so bad. But I think today we're probably back to just slightly down on a global scale. But again, that is nowhere near the problems that some of the other industrial colleagues have. And now challenge number 4. This is an Argentine cow. Now, it's funny, yeah, but it's very serious. And this greenhouse gases, and you might think, well, what's it going to do with us in Asia? But the source of methane emissions, you see here, beef is actually 60 times more than the chicken. This might be another reason why the beef companies are buying chicken companies. Because what is going to happen, and by the way, it is where the biggest growth is going to come in emissions are China, or in Asia in general, and Latin America. And these comments are from a presentation made at the last meeting of the National Chicken Council. And it was interesting of what Eric said yesterday, and you've got here national security implications. And also in the US, it's been ruled that greenhouse gases are pollutants, and therefore come under the control of the Environmental Protection Agency. And they have just exempted the meat industry from certain reporting. And what has happened is then that the Sierra Club have gone to court to challenge EPA's authority not to report. And you will be hearing a lot about this bill, the Waxman-Markey Act, which significantly can increase the cost of production. Now you say here in Asia, well, what's that going to do with us? If you are exporting to Europe, you can expect that you're going to have to follow their standards. And if the US standards say this, you can expect European standards to follow. In Australia, they went this way and they backed off. But again, if you're going to export beef from Australia to somewhere, you're going to be following this.